All right, I'm just going to kind of kick things off here. I'm hoping that people will flood in as I get going, but in the interest of time, I'm going to try and get started and cover what we need to. So jumping right in here, appreciate everyone for joining so far. The purpose of today's call is to discuss Loop ERP and talk about how by leveraging Loop ERP, you can bring operations and finance into a single system, optimizing your business management and your operations and financial management simply with one system. And so we're going to cover a little bit about myself, an introduction of our team, our leadership team, as well as a quick origin story. Talk very quickly about what Loop ERP is from a high level, and then we're going to get right into the demo from there. That is the primary focus of today, is that demo. Throughout this call here, I'm going to share my screen here, pull it up. Throughout this call here, if there are any questions that arise, I will have you put them into the Q&A section of the chat. Jace, I just pulled up the screen here. Can you nod and make sure that you're seeing the correct screen here? Perfect. I see a thumbs up there. Appreciate it. So Jason's going to be monitoring our chat here. He will be the one answering questions as they come in. So if you do have questions, put them there. He'll answer them in the chat, but we don't have enough time to answer them live. I'll try and save a few minutes at the end for Q&A to make sure that we can have a little bit of a discussion, but I'm trying to cover a lot of information in a short amount of time. So again, keep your questions to the chat if possible, and we'll try and address anything live at the end if possible. But if we need to follow up on anything, feel free to let us know. Send us your email. We've got your contact info. We can easily arrange a follow-up meeting should we need to after the fact and dive deeper or answer any questions that you do have. So I see a few more people here are joining, which is good. Just to recap, this is our agenda, quick overview of leadership, what Loop ERP is, and we're going to get into the demo. That's going to be the primary focus of today's call, highlighting the benefits of bringing operations and finance into one system, leveraging Loop ERP. So to introduce myself, my name is Ryan McQuillan. I am the head of business development here with Loop ERP. Really, my role at the company is to bring together our team of experts. We've got industry experts, we've got ERP experts, coding experts, bring together our team, our product, and communicate that message and that value with businesses, listen to any given business's pains, challenges in operating their business, and see if and where there's a good fit to leverage Loop ERP. So I'm kind of the connector between our team and product and your business. My experience touches on working at NetSuite Direct, working at a NetSuite partner, Seba Solutions. Seba is our sister company, which I'll touch more on here in a minute. And then I've also had a variety of experiences at other startups, including software startups. And so I've got a lot of experience working directly with founders and growing companies and CEOs. And so I have a pretty good sense of a lot of the pains that businesses experience as they grow. Not on this call is Zabe Sadiq. He's our CEO and founder. He brings 25 years of ERP experience. He's worked at SAP, Oracle, Epicor, and he's been running Seba Solutions for the last 15 years and still is today. They are a NetSuite partner. That is what Loop ERP was born out of. So myself, Jason, and Zabe, we all come from that NetSuite partner, and it came out of a need that we identified in the marketplace trying to implement NetSuite for businesses in the circular economy. We realized there's this huge gap. And so after doing many customizations that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, we realized there's a cheaper way to do it. There's a more cost-effective way to do it. And so we productized our knowledge and we delivered this solution, Loop ERP, built natively within NetSuite. So Zabe brings a lot of leadership, business ownership experience, and a lot of hands-on ERP implementation experience to provide best practices for every customer that we work with. And then also on the call here today is Jason Riley. He is really the brains behind Loop ERP, and I'll let him touch briefly on his experience, and then we'll get into the next stage here.
Thanks, Ryan. I don't know if I can match your energy today, but I will definitely try. Jason Riley, product director with Loop ERP. Been here for a few years now, going back to Seba Solutions. Started my career here in the central United States at a scrap recycling company, boots on the ground, management trainee back starting in 2004. Went on to bigger, better things, but operations management, yard management, things like that. And then 2018, I dove into the software space, where I started out in the sales and also product development side of things within our industry, and now onto product director for Loop ERP.
Thanks, Jace. Appreciate it. As I mentioned at the beginning, he's the one monitoring the chat. And so if you do have questions, put them in the chat. He's more than qualified to answer them as our director of product development. So quickly to touch on Loop ERP, I'd love to spend a full hour just talking about our product, our origin story, but I just want to hit the high level points here. Loop ERP at its most simplest form is a true all-in-one ERP application built natively within NetSuite ERP. It unifies both operations and finance into a single system for recyclers within the circular economy industry. And so what do I mean by circular economy industry? It's really it's kind of a catch-all term, but anyone that's taking material, repurposing it, or disassembling it, using a reverse manufacturing process, or taking in the aggregate industry, you've got a whole plot of land and rock. You're going to destroy it. You're going to reprocess that material in some way, and it's a reverse logistics process. So that process, that backwards process, that circular process, is very challenging for a lot of mainstream ERPs, and that's why we created Loop ERP, to bring that functionality to a robust system like NetSuite. And NetSuite really is one of our key differentiators in the marketplace. What we learned in talking with businesses and from Jason's experience is that there's so many gaps in the marketplace. There's these great niche solutions that handle maybe the reverse logistics or dispatch or ticketing. And then there's these great ERPs like SAP and Oracle and Microsoft, but you have to either try and integrate them or build out customizations. And neither one of them seem to capture that whole process in one. And that's why we decided to build Loop ERP, so that you can have that single solution, no integrations, no syncs, no batch uploads. It's one system, one login for your whole business. And we bring it all to that single source of truth. Some of the core features here, this is not a comprehensive list. It does capture most of the most important features, but it's not all inclusive, but I just wanted to hit the most important ones. So some of the core features of Loop ERP are obviously being built on NetSuite. That comes with a robust technology infrastructure, data infrastructure, cloud infrastructure. It brings the accounting and financials to the system, that core GL, multi-entity consolidation, multi-currency. You can operate it on as many subsidiaries as you want, both domestic and internationally. And then Loop ERP brings those operational expertise, that operational precision, which is yard ops, ticketing, inbound and outbound, scale and camera integration, regrades, processing and production, inventory management, both lot traceability and serialization. We have dispatch for inbound and outbound, and logistics. We've got a pricing module. We've got the ability to handle contracts, settlements, payments, netting, and then we also have a dedicated brokerage app as well as tolling. So there's a ton to unpack in every one of those, and I won't cover all of them today, but I'll try and touch on as many as I can. But here's a quick glimpse of what is included within Loop ERP. And none of this exists within NetSuite natively, which is an important point. We're the only company in the world that has built these features within NetSuite. And so to have that true all-in-one ERP with the backing of a company like Oracle and the scalability, we are the go-to partner for that. So that brings us into the demo portion here. I'm going to try and cover a lot. We're already 10 minutes in. It's possible this may go a little long. I'll try and fit it all in. If you do stick around, if you have a few minutes afterwards, if we're not able to address questions as we go, then we can try and save a few minutes at the end. But again, we're on a tight schedule here. So to set the stage for the demo here, the process I'm going to follow is really a traditional, workflow, starting with, your dashboards and roles. So logging in as a user, I'm going to touch on the financials. I'm going to touch on purchase orders and contracts, dispatch, inbound tickets and receiving, the production process, outbound sales. And then at the end, I do hope you stick around till the end, because the yard app's a really important feature. Everything else before that kind of culminates in the yard app. And so if you can stick around till the end, I would appreciate it, because that's a really important feature that I want to make sure that you are able to see. And then we'll close out with some next steps. So as I open up the system here, or before I do rather, I just want to emphasize kind of, the goal here. It's really a big picture overview. I'm focusing on the value rather than the mechanics. So instead of talking about every little field and nuance and technical lever, I'm just going to focus on the big picture and why it matters as best as I can. And the focus and the goal that I hope that I've set for this, conversation is really, I want you to take away that we are trying to reclaim time and value in your business management operations. Circular economy is predicated upon reclaiming value from something that someone else might see as waste. And we're trying to do the same thing for your business to really eliminate wasted time, wasted effort, duplicate entries, manual reconciliations by bringing it all together in one system. And lastly, before I jump into the demo here, I will use NetSuite and Loop ERP interchangeably. And the reason for that is because it's the same system. So if you hear me say Loop or NetSuite, just know I'm talking about the same thing. All right, so to open up the system here, when you log in to Loop ERP from the beginning, the first thing that you're going to be brought to is the home dashboard. The home dashboard really acts as your command center for everything that you're going to do within the system. It's going to turn the raw transactional data that's happening in the background into actual actionable insights that feeds directly to you on your home dashboard. So I'm logged in here. This home icon here represents that I'm on the dashboard, and everything you see here is real-time data. It's not just static. It allows me to get an understanding of exactly what my income is this period versus last period in real time. And the KPIs and the metrics that you're seeing are designed for you based off of your role. And so if I show the drop-down menu here on the top right, you'll see right now I just have 2 roles, but you could add an operations manager role, an AP clerk, an inventory manager, a yard manager, whatever the role is, we'll design it to you and we'll set it up with what we call segregation of duties. That ensures that you have the proper security, permissions, visibility per user and per role. You might not want a yard manager seeing your financials, and so we set up those security permissions. It also allows us to tailor the system to your personal preferences and to the information that matters most to you. So if I were to log into the CFO role here, you're going to see that everything changes from the look and feel to the color scheme, the metrics, the KPIs are changing. And so everything here is now going to be tailored to the CFO role. Furthermore, on the dashboard, everything that you see that is in blue, I'm able to drill down into it. So it's dynamic. It's not just the static number. I can see the profit here. If I open up this period, I can actually open up the income statement to see the profit, as well as get the high level overview here on the dashboard. I can also access it via my shortcuts. So as a CFO, looking at something like an income statement is going to be important. So if I open up that income statement right here from my shortcuts, you'll see, make sure I get the right one here. That was the first one I opened. And now the second one I opened here is the full income statement. And so you're able to access it directly from the home dashboard or from this shortcuts menu. Really quickly, whenever you're in a report like this, you're able to customize the date range. There's pre-configured ones, or you can set them manually. You can also do this based off of an individual location or subsidiary, as well as a parent consolidated view. So if I simply click the consolidated view and then click refresh, everything here is going to update to give me that consolidated financial report. And then I can also filter it out by class. So you can imagine me doing ferrous versus non-ferrous, or copper and aluminum, and you can break it out by class. So this is going to be true throughout the system for no matter the data, whether it's financial or operational. You have the ability to customize this. You can download it as a CSV. You can email it directly from here, and you can even schedule emails as well. Going back to the dashboard here, the last thing I'll touch on is the reminders portlet. This is your daily to-do list. Everything is going to feed directly to you. So if you have invoices that are overdue, or if you have quotes to approve, it's telling you that in real time as information is entered into the system. And so I can set this up easily by opening up the setup button, and I can either remove things by Xing it out, or I can add things by clicking on it, save it, it updates in real time. So these are some of the basic user interfaces, user interface kind of capabilities, just a look and feel of the system. Now I want to transition into the specific Loop ERP functionality. And you'll notice here that along this menu bar, exists everything that the system provides, including Loop ERP. And as I mentioned, it is one system. And so everything is tied together here within the single system. So this is our module. This consists of all of the transactions and reports and modules that we've built out. We've also got a dedicated brokerage module, which is separate, but you can include both if you choose or if you need both. But to start out, whenever you're processing anything or whenever you're operating as a yard, it starts with purchasing material. So I want to start with purchase orders and purchase contracts. If I click purchase orders here, it's going to take me to a list of all the purchase orders. And I'm sure you're aware of what a purchase order is, but not everybody is aware of a purchase contract. We do allow for both within the system. Essentially, a purchase contract is just a longer term agreement with a supplier to define clear pricing and volume commitments over a period of time. And you're able to actually issue those one-off POs and release against the contract as needed. So you can have multiple POs drawn down against that one agreement, allowing you to track total committed volume and remaining balances. But I'm going to emphasize more so the purchase orders here rather than the contracts. So I can open up any one of these purchase orders. And when I do, it'll look like this. Now, I'm going to refer to header level detail a lot. You'll see supplier information, freight information, classification. I'm not going to spend time going through every individual field on every report that we pull up. So just know that when I refer to header level detail, what I mean is the information that's relevant to that transaction. So in this case, we're looking at the purchase order number, employee, pickup instructions, total amounts. But more importantly, the thing that I want to focus on is the value that is brought to a purchase order from Loop ERP. It's not just a piece of paperwork that includes this information, although that is true, it's here. It really acts as an anchor record that connects your inbound tickets and your item receipts and your vendor bills and your freight. It drives all of the automation throughout the remainder of the system so that when you create a PO, all of the related downstream transactions like receiving, billing, payments, it all ties back to that original purchase order for visibility and control. And because of the role-based system, we're able to set up those approvals and ensure that only authorized POs are released. This makes sure that there is no rogue spending, and it gives you that clear audit trail. So as I move down here past the header level information, you're going to see all these subtabs. And again, I'm using this as an example. You'll see a similar format throughout the transactions that I go through today, but you've got your items here, which is going to list out all the items included within this purchase order. This one's already been fully billed. You can see that status up here, but because of that, we've received this material. We see that they've all been billed and the quantity that's been billed along with the amounts. There's a ton of information that we can store here to this item. And one thing I want to call out is there's a lot of empty fields. And the reason why we're showing you all of them is to give you a sense of everything you could track, all of the data you can track, all the reports you can make. And that includes landed costs, customers, related assets, linked orders, main components, provisional pricing. But if you don't need those things, then when we configure Loop, we just hide them. We only want to show you the information that's relevant to you and your operations. But for the sake of this demo, I just want to show you the full scope of capability. Furthermore, we've got shipping subtabs, billing subtabs, relationships. So you can track who I need to be in contact with per this purchase order. You can even log communication to this purchase order. So you can have an email thread automatically syncing back to it based off the relationship contact and email. You can attach PDFs or other information and files as needed. All right, let me make sure I'm in the right spot here. So you've got all these different subtabs. The related records piece is really what I mean when I call a purchase order an anchor record. Everything flows back through this purchase order from outbound tickets to transactions. You can see the receipts and bills here are automatically logged to this. And because it's already been fully billed, I have that information here. I can track approvals, inbound dispatch, as well as the inbound ticket. So once you've actually purchased the material, then you would want to schedule your inbound dispatch. And there's a few ways to do that within the system. First and foremost, you go to dispatch, inbound dispatch here. and it's going to pull up at first a list. Here I get a high level view of all of those open dispatches, and we've got supplier information, PO information, pickup, delivery date. So this is one way to get it. You can drill down into any one of these as needed, but we've also created a very user-friendly way to track and manage inbound and outbound dispatch, and that is our dispatch calendar. So this is a really easy way to get a sense for what's coming in and what's going out on any given day. So I've got a list of all of my dispatches here. I can search by dispatch. So I can go 00052 and it'll show up that only that one. So it makes it easy to find. I can filter this based off month or day, and then I can even drag and drop into the specific time slot. So if I know that this is going to come between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m., I can schedule that here. I can open this up. I can schedule the status as needed. I can schedule a driver if needed, and it's actually impacting that real dispatch record in real time. So it'll tell me that it's coming in on this day, on this time. And if you don't know exactly what time it's coming in, you simply add it to the day, and now it's just attributed to that day as opposed to a specific time. So once the truck arrives, the system can convert that dispatch directly onto an inbound ticket. You can do that completely automated if you would like, or you can put in controls if you need, but it ensures full traceability. So from purchase order to inbound dispatch to inbound ticket. So I'm going to open up an inbound ticket here. And again, we've got all of the relevant header level detail that you would expect, like supplier information. But the point I want to drive home here with the inbound ticket is it acts as a transaction hub. So the way that the purchase order acts as an anchor record, the inbound ticket acts as a transaction hub. And so what you'll see here, the most important part of this transaction is all of the related and linked transactions. So I've got the original purchase order. I've got the trucking and vendor bill. I can track whether or not there's a freight chargeback and what percent it's at. I can track if it's provisionally priced and what percent it's at. And so by doing this, it allows you to automatically update inventory from the item receipt and create a supplier invoice from the vendor bill. All of these things are being created in real time for you, and every one of those individual transactions is typically managed manually. And so even if it takes just a few minutes, it can actually, I see a hand raised here. Jace, is there are you raising your hand?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to those linked transactions how important that is and how much time savings that is. As you see all the linkages, those are things that you don't have to create other than the purchase order. You don't have to create manually. It's happening behind the scenes. So just want to mention that.
Yep. No, and that's exactly right. That's where you start to see a ton of the time savings. Even if it just takes a few minutes to do those other transactions, it could be up to 10 different transactions that are being created from this record. And so, it might be 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to do all of those, but it's happening automatically now. And those values compound over time with every inbound ticket.
Especially if there's 100 transactions per day. That's a lot of
Exactly. So as we move down on the inbound ticket, you're going to have, again, all of the relevant ticket line items that you would expect from all the items included, the unit price, the gross, and the tare weight. You can do it based off of pounds or tons or each. So there's a flexibility there. Again, tracking provisional pricing. So tons of information you can store here, or you can choose to hide some of these fields if you don't need all of it. On the inbound ticket, you're also able to track quality. So you can set up your quality inspection to make sure that the material is as it is supposed to be. And you can classify it in a quarantine if it needs further evaluation or needs to just sit idly for a period of time. You have the same ability to store an analysis of the material within the system itself, for so much so that you could actually you could connect an XRF analyzer gun, scan it, and pull that information directly into the system, further eliminating manual entry so that you can ensure more accuracy. Add any notes and files that you need to, as well as attach your scale images. So when the truck does come across the scale, you not only capture the weight, gross, and tare, but you're also taking an image, and that image is going to be linked back to this inbound ticket as well. So once that inbound ticket's finalized, you offload the truck, it gets sent to accounts payable. Now it's going to automatically create the item receipt, and that's linked here, so I can open it up directly from this record. and I see the item receipt again with the relevant header level detail, as well as the relevant inventory detail. But if I want to get a more granular look as to the material that we did receive, I simply click the inventory detail right here. And this is where lot traceability and serialization comes in. And so we've split this material into two separate lots. First lot, I'm going to open up here. You're going to see all of the potential locations it could be at, as well as sub-locations. So you've got Ryland Scrapyard, but you've also got a finished goods tag or a whip tag location. So you get to see really quickly what you do have on hand and what is available. And you can also check the status right here to see that this is available. Now, in the instance of this other lot, we in the system, for the sake of this demo, we already sold this material, and so you'll see that none of it is on hand. We can't sell it because it's not in stock, and that's because it's already been accounted for within the system, and that updates it in real time. So once you've received the material, you can begin processing it. And this is another area where a lot of mainstream ERPs like NetSuite natively or SAP, they just fall short. And even a lot of the more niche applications don't have all of the functionality that we have within our regrade feature. I know we're already coming up kind of on the end of the hour here, or end of the half hour. I'm going to burn through this as quickly as I can. I'll keep going. If you're able to stick around, I'll keep going. Otherwise, if you have to drop, ping us. We're happy to follow up, send you the recording, whatever it may be. But moving into the regrade feature, first you'll see a list of all just the production list of all of the processing that's going on, what location, general information. But if we were to open up any one of these, I'm going to open up number 22 here. We will now see the actual regrade form where we're able to select the location, the date, the period. We can select which production process we're using, whether it's melting or torch or separation. We can also have different production types and equipment. So one production might be split into multiple pieces of equipment or multiple lines. We can account for that here as well. But then we scroll down and we get into the actual meat of this transaction, which is the inputs and the outputs. So for the sake of this example, we're using a battery and we're disassembling that battery. So we know that we've got EV battery. It's at an end of life stage. We've got the we've got that it is a lot item. We've got the lot number. It could be a bin number. We're able to see exactly how many we have on hand. Again, doesn't matter if it's pounds or eaches, whatever it may be. It gives us an average cost of this item and an average value of this item. From there, we're going to disassemble it into a variety of outputs. Now, I'm sure there's more components to a battery than this, but in this instance, we're going from 1 input to 6 outputs. And each one of these outputs is going to have a tagged location. It's going to get its own new lot number. It's going to get its own whip tag. It's going to tell us what % of the original input this item is, as well as give us an average cost and value per new output item. We also have the ability to add in waste. And so if I simply add here the waste line item, what that's going to allow us to do is essentially carry a 0 cost on the output and apply that value to all of the other non-waste items to make sure that the reconciliation phase is correct. Jace, I see that you're raising your hand again. Feel free to.
I was just going to say that about that plastics line. If that plastics line was needed to be 0, if you're not getting paid for it, you can carry that 0 cost, and it would split that $210 upon the other 5 line items.
Exactly.
How to hit on that a little bit. Also available, which is not being showed here, is the ability to change the average cost of each line item if you need to do that, if there's a higher valued item in there and a lower valued item.
Yep. Appreciate it. Thanks, Jace. And then the last piece here on the regrade form is the reconciliation. Rule of thumb here is inputs need to equal outputs. If it doesn't, the system will flag it. It'll tell you there's an error, something's wrong. You won't be able to actually approve this transaction if it doesn't, if the inputs don't equal the outputs, because then something inherently did go wrong. If you needed to override that for any reason, you can, but by rule of thumb, inputs must equal outputs. All right, so moving into the inventory adjustment piece. So this is already a completed transaction. So by clicking this inventory adjustment link right here, it's going to open up the inventory adjustment file here, which is going to show me that regrade It's also going to show me a breakdown of all of the actual inventory adjustments per item. So we went from 50 on-hand batteries. We regraded 25 of them. So now we only have 25 left, along with the individual unit cost. We have the ability to now add a increase in inventory items per all of the new components that were created. So high voltage control system battery, we didn't have any of those on hand, but we broke it apart. Now we do. That inventory is updated in real time so that you have that visibility. And all of this raw transactional data is what you're pulling from on your home dashboard to see how much inventory you really do have on hand. Again, saving time, not digging through spreadsheets, not trying to reconcile information after the fact or emailing 3 different people. The system is tracking it for you. It's automating as much of it as you allow for as within your controls, and then you're able to pull that information easily as you need it. You can also, once again, drill down in the inventory detail on any one of these items, further getting into the serial and lot numbers, further seeing what you do have available by the status and where that availability is. You'll also see, in this instance, the steel casings. I'm going to refer to this here in a minute here, but you'll see if I open this one up, the lot number, this one's not in stock. That's because, like I already mentioned earlier, this item's already been sold and accounted for. So the system won't allow us to sell more of it because it's not in stock. So if I open up the steel casings inventory item here, this is a derivative from the original battery. You can trace all of that back clearly. I'm going to open up the inventory item to see not only what the details are of this item, again, where it is on hand. Right now I have 0 on hand because it's already been sold. But if I come back up here and I go back to the related records tab, I'm able to see all of the related records that are associated with this, from the invoice to the shipment, and I can drill down into these to figure out the specifics of this item here. So once you actually get through the inbound receiving process, the production process, then you convert it into sales. We touched on that a little bit here because this item's already been sold, but I do want to just show you quickly what a sales order looks like. I don't need to spend a lot of time here because this is essentially just the same thing as the purchase side, just on the sales side. So a lot of the information is going to be the same. Header level detail is going to be the same. You've all the sub tabs further explaining what's required for this sales order. But you can also directly from the specific sales order now create or authorize a return if you need to, or create that dispatch for outbound. And so now you're doing the inverse of what we did on the purchasing side, and you're going to create the outbound ticket. And so by clicking this button here, I can create a new ticket. Again, in the interest of time, I've already created this outbound dispatch. So I'm going to open that up. I can see the outbound domestic ticket here, giving me the link back to that original sales order, as well as the freight information and the linked transactions for this specific outbound ticket. The item fulfillment itself, or the item shipment number and the invoice, I'm going to open both of these up here, and I'll show you those in a second. But I also wanted to just touch on the fact that we do have the ability to track quality on the outbound side as well. If you have to do that, you can also attach scale images on the outbound side so that if there's any disputes later on, you have clear visibility as to what was actually sent. So I've opened up both of these item shipment and invoice records here. Item shipment, not much to talk about other than showing you what items were shipped, how many you have on hand now after it's been shipping detail. But I want to just slow down here for a second to talk about GL impact. You're going to see the GL impact sub tab throughout a lot of these transactions. And this is one of the critical areas of why it's so valuable having everything into a single system, because you're not downloading a report. You don't have a yard manager who knows that an item's been shipped, but needs to wait until the end of the day to send the details to accounting or to walk a piece of paper down the hall and give it to someone. As these transactions are taking place within the system, it's posting to the GL in real time. And so it's saving more manual effort. It's eliminating room for error. And it's all of these little 5, 10, 15, 20-minute activities that add up over the course of a day, that add up over the course of a week, and they compound over time. And so where you really start to see a ton of value add, not even to mention the amount of value that you get from the reporting end of it, but just the efficiency and accuracy and speed of being able to post these transactions in real time becomes very valuable. You also, I'm going to open up the invoice record here. So this was opened from the item receipt itself, or the sales order. But on the invoice, all the details you would expect from a header level information perspective. But I just wanted to comment that we do have the ability to create pro forma invoices. So sometimes you might send a material and the weight or pricing changes for whatever reason. You can send a pro forma invoice. If it changes, then you have the ability to send the final invoice later. You can also create group invoices. In the instance that you have many outbound loads, you can group these invoices together into one single invoice with all of the relevant details. And then once this invoice is created and approved, all you have to do, you might not have to do anything. You could have it automatically sent to the customer once it's approved. Or if you'd prefer to do things a little bit more manual, you want to print something and send something via email, you can print it right here. And what that looks like is this. So this is an invoice. It's very stock standard. We can tailor this to meet your brand guidelines, but just wanted to show you that this is possible here within the system. So that's a ton of information. I know that there was a couple questions coming through. I want to hit on one more thing here. So I appreciate with you sticking with me a little bit long here. The last thing I want to touch on, and this is what I was talking about at the beginning, is one of the most important parts of Loop ERP is our mobile app. And the reason for that is you may be familiar with NetSuite, maybe you're not. But any type of change can be complicated, and learning a new system comes with its challenges. And yes, our team does a lot of extensive training with you, hand-holding to make sure you are comfortable. We configure your dashboards to give you access to everything you need really, really simply. But at the end of the day, certain people in the yard, they just don't need access to all of the fields, all of the transactions, all of the links. They don't need it, and it slows them down. It's clutter. And so the reason we created the mobile app is to solve for that problem, to create a very efficient user interface that's mobile first. This is what that looks like. You could access it from a browser, but it's really meant to be on a tablet of some sort. And it just really simplifies the user experience. It allows you to take that mobile tablet anywhere in the yard. You can take photos of things. You can get a real quick look at what the inbound tickets are. You can create a new ticket very simply. And all of the transactions happening from the mobile app are immediately synced back to NetSuite. It's not a batch upload at the end of the day or at the end of the week. It's automatically tied back to the system so that when these transactions are being completed in real time, it's simple for the end user, it's simple for the yard worker, but the executive team in the back office gets to see this detailed information, gets to create the reports needed. And so it's an attempt at creating the best of both worlds, from the end daily users in the yard through the executives in the office. And all of this is accessible anywhere in the world with an internet connection because it is a cloud-based application. So I've done enough talking for the day. I'm going to head back here just to kind of recap, but that's really all I wanted to show you. Tried to walk through an end-to-end workflow from introductions to dashboards and overview, all the way through the mobile app. I hope that you found some degree of value from it. As I mentioned at the beginning, we're happy to dive deeper into any one of these sections on a more in-depth personalized demo if you wish. Jace, I'll let you comment if there's any questions that were asked that you didn't get the chance to answer. We can address those now. Otherwise, I think in the interest of time, it's probably best to just wrap things up and let people follow up as needed.
No, there was only two. I answered them. Just something to add on the mobile app as we're, developing that. Speed at the scale is so important, whether it be scrap, aggregate, waste. You're wanting to get those trucks in and off quickly with also gathering the appropriate data so you don't have to go back and redo tickets. That's what we're really trying to hone into on the development side, is making this application, this mobile app, extremely user-friendly, fast, efficient, so you can get those trucks in and out.
Appreciate that, Chase. Well, with that, it's all that I had to cover. I see one more question just came in. It says, how does Loop ERP help manage material flows from intake to sale? Well, it's a great question. It's a bit of a lengthy answer. I think we tried to cover some of that here today. Jace, I don't know if you wanted to comment to that one specifically. Otherwise, we can follow up with Angie, but I do want to be cognizant of everyone's time. Did you want to address that question really quick, Jace?
Yeah, I mean, I think we went over, from purchase all the way through the sales and the inbound ticket, and just capturing all that data with the scale integration, camera integration, even signature pad. We're just capturing all that right there, real time. Extremely important, but we can answer in more detail after this call.
Appreciate it. All right. Well, there's a few people still on here. I appreciate all of your time. I'm happy to stick around if any more questions come through. But at this point, that's really all I had to cover. So feel free to follow up with us. We've got your contact information. You'll get kind of just a wrap up summary. Thank you for attending email. And so if you do need to reach out, you'll have our contact information. Otherwise, you can access us via our website as well. Since there's some people still on the line, I will just refer you. Our website is looperp.ai, and there are some click-through demos that you can access here as well under the resources tab, videos and demos. We've got some great resources here as well to show a little bit more feature function than we were able to show today. So including brokerage and advanced pricing. So feel free to check those out. Check out our website, follow up with us, and that's all I have. Appreciate everybody's time, and have a good rest of your day.
Hey, everyone.
Thanks, Jace.